Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets&Quants. I'm here with Jim Parrish, the Executive Director of Graduate and Online Programs at Harbert College of Business at Auburn University. Welcome.
Thank you, John. Glad to be here.
So, Auburn has really been a pioneer in online education. Over 30 years ago, you started sending those old VHS tapes to long-distance students.
That's right.
Your online MBA is one of the best in the world. And you're now deepening student engagement. Tell me what you're doing.
So we have found that a good number of our students really want to experience international education as part of their overall experience. A great piece of our program is the high level of flexibility that we do offer in an online space, but there is a subset of our online learners that really want to, have a deeper connection to Auburn University. They want to see a new destination, and they want to travel with their classmates. So we've offered a class, it's an elective course for 3 hours of credit, where an online student will go through a semester, and part of that is a 6 to 12 day immersion depending on the destination. So we offer it during the fall semester, and as part of this experience, our online students arrive in country, they're put on the different teams, and they're able to really explore a new destination by connecting with cultural experiences, business and corporate and site visits, and really allow them to get that traditional study abroad feature even in an online program.
Yeah, and bond more deeply with classmates that they generally only see on the computer screen.
Absolutely. You know, in an online program, sometimes you feel like you're on an island. And so this will allow our students to really forge deeper connections, deeper bonds, build those relationships, and once they finish the program, it'll have them feeling more connected to the overall experience of, even with the flexibility of an online degree.
What countries are in play in your immersion?
Yeah, so last fall we took students to both Dublin and Belfast.
Oh, nice.
So we were able to kind of compare and contrast being on one island but being part of the UK and part of the EU.
Right.
And so, as you know, there's been some challenges and some activities where easy travel has not been the same way as it has been. So to kind of combine Dublin, which is a little more known city, and Belfast, which has a lot of English ties still to it, there was a lot of great culture, a lot of great communication around both those areas. We have some great partners that have their corporate headquarters in both Dublin and in Belfast. And so those relationships helped us establish a pretty powerful visit for our online students.
Right.
In the future, we're hoping to look at places like Montreal, look at Croatia, Colombia, and Greece as we look at the longer range plan for our online travelers.
And I'm assuming that the trip is like the culmination of a course where you're doing a deep dive on the culture, the economy, business operations that are crucial to a given region of the world or a country.
That's exactly right. So it's kind of broken up to where the students are put into teams at the very beginning of the semester. They'll do different presentation, they'll do pestle analyses, and then report out across the course in an online platform. And then the midway through, we will go to that particular city or country and visit. The back end of the course is kind of that foreign exchange rates, the international situations that are going on across all disciplines in all countries, tariff, non-tariff barriers, those kind of things that really accentuate the international business operations in any given climate.
Right.
So it's two parts. You have the focus of leading up to the immersion itself, and then closing it out with some international business courses and foundations there, but we also do a very reflective piece. It's called a visual explore. We ask all of our online students to choose one image from the excursion and then report out what that image means to them. It's a very powerful experience. It's a very powerful way to really capture how this experience did transform our students.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm also thinking that this preserves the flexibility because it's not mandatory.
Correct.
It's like an add-on. If you want to take advantage of it, go ahead. It'll be a fantastic experience for you. But if you can't find the time, then it's okay too.
That's exactly right. So we put out a destination and the dates as far in advance as we can. We do different feedback and listening sessions with our online students, and one of the topics that we generally bring up is the international opportunity that we have for our online students. we want to know what they're looking for. The best way to find out what to offer to your students is to ask them.
Absolutely.
And so we ask our students, and so we get a lot of feedback on destination, time of year, price point, because this is not inclusive of the tuition that we charge.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
It is an add-on. And so we're listening to our students and hearing what they say about this immersion and building something that will be attractive for them. One of the pieces of feedback that we received is we want to offer a more competitive price point for our students. So this fall we are heading to Montreal for about a 5-day immersion, but we feel like we're able to offer it to a specific set of students who wants that international experience, but also at a very competitive price point. In addition, it's less time away from home and from work and personal obligations.
Too. Yeah.
So you have to kind of take those things into consideration with online learners, because their personal obligations come first, and then their educational opportunities. And so they're juggling the opportunities they have with managing their home, their PTO, and those kind of things all come into play. So one of the things they've told us is we want several options. We want a longer runway to make our plan, and so we're now setting out 3 years in advance the destination and a range of dates so our students can prepare and plan.
If you can't do it in 3 years, you can't do anything.
That's right.
There's no planning.
That's right.
That's plenty of lead time for people.
Yeah, I think so.
And I know that in your full-time in-person MBA, you have global immersions.
We do.
So are the online students joining the full-time MBA students?
That's a great question. We did proceed with that model before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We did ask our online students, anybody who wanted to join could join those full-time student immersions. We came out of the immersion thinking we need to provide something for our full-time students because they're on campus and that was part of their overall experience.
Right.
When we came out of that planning, we decided to offer 2 separate itineraries and 2 separate trips. So we focus our spring semester on the full-time immersion, and we focus the fall semester in the online immersion. So right now our plan is, if you're in the full-time program, you travel and take the elective in the spring, and the online program is the fall. And really, we're just trying to connect those students to each other in the online space. We also do some very dynamic pricing for the online students that's not the same with the full-time students.
Right.
We also have a different kind of approach to logistics. In our full-time space, we do take the students from our campus to the airport, to the destination, a lot more shepherding of that regard. In the online space, we don't provide international airfare in the overall package, which allows us to keep our price point competitive. So we have our online students meet us in the country and the destination because we found through the feedback mechanisms that they may have other reasons to be in country. They may have opportunities from a corporate perspective. They may have frequent flyer status that allows them to get to this country. And so we can put one price for the land package, and then they can find their way to the destination.
Plus your degree is highly affordable. I mean, it's one of the bargains in the online MBA space by far.
Yeah, so our price point has been very steady. So we're still able to offer an online degree at under $40,000 total. Right. So we're very happy with that price point. And with Auburn's foundation being a land-grant school, our goal is to make sure we can get education to the masses. And so if you go back to the 35 years ago, the visionaries that had the goal of taking education from main campus to those around the country, that was part of our mission of being a land-grant school. So the foundational cost and what we provide and deliver is very competitive where we are in overall rankings as well.
What are other ways in which your online MBA has evolved?
So the online MBA program over the last few years, we feel like we have doubled down on the engagement piece. One more thing that we do in terms of engagement for our online students is a new initiative we call Camp Harbert.
Right. And
Camp Harbert, it stands for a Conference for Auburn Master's Programs, and it's a 3.5-day on-campus residency for our online students. And so the 3 pillars of Camp Harbert is to build a community of learners, establish your professional and personal networks, and embrace the Auburn campus experience.
So is that like an onboarding experience in the beginning of the program, or not necessarily?
So it's not in the beginning of the program. Students can choose during the duration of their online program when they would like to come to Camp Harbert. We established it really during the pandemic because a lot of the things that we weren't allowed to do was meet face-to-face. And so we had some conversations with our leadership team and said, what ways can we provide a campus component to our on-campus, to our online students. And so one of the things we talked about with orientation is an orientation to a new program is there's a lot of things you still don't know. And so you're able to make a decision about a program to go with or to go against, even at orientation. So there was a time where we invited online students to orientation, but we've kind of shifted this to more of an immersion whenever you are enrolled in the program. Because we found that students who have been in the program for 2 or 3 semesters or a year, they really feel more a piece of Auburn now that they've decided to do this. So when they come to campus, they're really looking for that networking aspect.
Yes.
And so the hallmark of any strong MBA program is that network. And so in the online space, that sometimes is not as easily seen. But what this does, along with the global immersion, is it allows our online students to build those networks. Another piece of the overall equation that our online students are looking for is that connection to their faculty. So it's fun to see students come to campus and they see the faculty that have been on screen for a couple of semesters. It's like they're rock stars, like I see you in the flesh, and so that would be lost at an orientation because they haven't seen any of the content yet.
That's
so
exactly right.
So Camp Harbert is one of those things where we feel like students can really come to campus. They can see things that our staff on campus as well as our full-time students, sometimes they take for granted. Going to an athletic facility, going to the art museum, going to our culinary center, taking a traditional tour of campus, seeing the mascots, seeing other entities on campus. We provide that all during these 3.5 days so our students can really feel a part of the overall experience. So Camp Harbert is in its 3rd iteration, and we're building for the spring as well to bring our students back to campus for these immersions. But as you said before, it's all elective, it's all optional. There is a little bit of a registration fee to kind of keep people engaged, but it still offers that flexibility without being any kind of requirement to attend.
And don't you find that despite the fact that many people worry they won't bond with classmates that they're not with physically or the faculty, that in fact, there's like extra effort that's being made by a lot of online students to bond. And so there's very little sacrifice even there, don't you think?
I agree. I think students are going to just kind of self-select what they want to do. And we have some students that have done Camp Harbert 2 times. They went on the study abroad immersion to Ireland, and so they're looking for any and every way to connect. And there are some students that say, I'm just here for my degree, and I don't want to be part of these things, and that's fine. But that's one of the things we want to make sure the students know they can get an offering. This is a different menu, if you will, of how you can engage. So the other things that we do is we offer our MBA consulting course on campus. That students come in from online. They come to campus for 2.5 days. They've been working with a client remotely for the first part of the semester, and they come to campus for 3 days to see Auburn, but also to present their recommendations to their client.
See, this is what I like about the pioneers in the space, because they've learned and tweaked through the years and evolved these programs so that they're really incredible student experiences. You get a Johnny-come-lately and they're just that new at the game. They may not know all these little tricks, and there are a bunch of tricks, particularly for the faculty in teaching in an online program. So having been at it for over 30 years, you've been able to perfect it.
I can't say enough good things about our faculty that teach in the online space. One of the constant pieces of feedback we get is from our students is that our faculty really know how to work with adult learners. They know that adult learners are not sitting in a classroom waiting to be fed by the information. They have things pulling at their schedule. They have commitments in other places. And because of being in an online program for as long as we have, our faculty are very adept at teaching those online adult learners. And so the flexibility of offering something where they're not as rigid because they know that things come up, I think that makes a difference in our students' eyes where our faculty are willing to work with them in a flexible way as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, Jim, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, John. Glad to be here. I appreciate the time.
And for all of you out there, thanks for watching. This is Jim Parrish, the Executive Director of Online and Graduate Programs at the Harbert College of Business at Auburn University. Check it out.